Hey, and welcome back. Day six of 30. We're getting there. So, if you're new to this playlist of what I'm doing here, so it's 30 days. I'm turning up live every day to share composition techniques and tools and tips, that sort of thing. What have we covered so far? We've covered straightening, and then I showed you how to the best way to straighten a photo after the fact using Snapseed perspective tool. We talked about visual anchor. We talked about rule of thirds. We talked about left to right. And then yesterday we talked about space. So yesterday we talked about negative space, positive space, and active space. Today, I'm going to go back to step number 1 of the 4-step system, and that is how we position the camera and ourselves, and how we prepare and position the camera. That's what step 1 is. And there's a link below to check out more about the 4-step system to create stronger photos. What is it? Stronger photo composition 4-step system. There we go. So if you haven't already, subscribe, hit the bell, all that sort of funky stuff. That'd be great, just to be notified, because I turn up different times of the day. I kind of squeeze this in around a tight schedule of doing other things. Speaking of other things, that composition course is done. It's live. It's up there. I'm very excited. It's taken me more than 3 months of research and design to put that together. So yeah, that's really cool. All right, but today's tip is all about camera height. So what I've got here, I've got some notes. Well, I've got the course open. So I've got 3 different things I want to cover here. So camera height, changing the dominance of the subject. And next I have changed the intersecting background elements by changing the camera height. And then thirdly, squeeze and expand the foreground by changing the camera height. All right, first one. I want to get into the first one here first. Now, here's a photo of my son. Makes me laugh every time I see this. So this was something that an exercise I did with him, and I said, "Mate, this is what I'm." And Riley was 7 at the time when I did this. I said, "Riley, I'm trying to show people that when I take a photo from a low angle, the subject will look really dominant and really big." And I said, and then when I take a photo from a higher angle, and then you're going to look a bit more meek and mild and sheepish and small. And so he put, without any prompting, just with that explanation of what we were doing, he put on these facial expressions, and it makes me laugh. He's such a character. But that's what it does. By getting down nice and low, you and we talked about this in day number 2. We talked about visual anchor and dominance and emphasis on the scene. Because you're down at a lower angle, things that are closer to the lens look bigger. Things that are further away from the lens look smaller. And you can see here, his knees look big, his legs, it all look big, and you kind of follow, and it creates a triangle, if you like. There we go. I need my bell. Ding. There's another compositional technique that I've just thrown in there. So, and you can see there that by shooting from above, because everything's further away, and we have that lens to subject distortion, where things further away look smaller, he looks smaller, and it looks, yeah, it just looks more dominant, doesn't it? Well, more kind of, he looks more smaller, and it's not great. I mean, I say this all the time. Just don't shoot things down at eye level. When you've got taking photos of your children, get down at least at their eye level, not your eye level shooting down at them. Like a couple of times now, I've actually approached parents in parks and made this suggestion. So I've got a bit of a cough there. And I've made this suggestion. The first time I felt a bit weird going and talking to someone and saying, "Hey, can I give you a tip on how to shoot your kids?" But now I have a business card, so it's not so weird. but I just, whenever I see people doing that, it's like, oh, your photos can, with such minimal effort, your photo can look so much more amazing. And when I'm showing people this, they're like, "Oh, wow!" I'm like, and that's the way they'll take photos from then on. And it's not just kids; it's also your pets. Getting down at eye level with your pets is fantastic, because you get to see the world from their angle, their perspective, but they don't look like you're shooting down and looking down at them. But yeah, to get down lower, it looks amazing. Another scenario where this works really well is for a cafe, restaurant, taking photos of their food. And there's a couple that I follow. One is Winter's Cafe here in Geelong. They do an amazing job with their food that they share on Instagram. They will quite often share the daily special, what they're actually putting together for the day, and their photos are amazing. Like the way they edit their photos. But let's come back to the height. One of the things they do well also is not just shooting down at the plate of food on the table. If it's a hamburger, get down at table level and shoot across, because changing your camera height will change the whole context and content. What it does, you can imagine shooting down at a hamburger, you're looking at the bun, sourdough bun, you're looking at the top of the bun, and you might see a little bit of the filling kind of splashing out from the side, and that's it. Whereas if you get down at table level, table height, shoot into the bun, you can then see all those amazing fillings. You can see all the ingredients, you can see what you're getting, you can see the value for money, and it just looks so much more appetizing. And if the story and something that is the unique selling proposition, or something that's unique to that hamburger, is the sheer height of it, or it's a double patty, or you get bacon included, or something that makes that stand out from your normal hamburgers, and this is what the special is, getting down there tells that story. And so changing that camera height makes a big difference. All right, next one I want to cover is, look at the notes, make sure I covered everything there. Yep, fantastic. I think I'm done there. Okay, next one is the background. All right, we've all seen those photos where you've taken a photo, or you've seen a photo where people are there, and then there's something sticking out of the side of their head. Well, it looks like there's something sticking out of the back of their head. So just take a moment to look at that and go, okay, I can't move them because I don't want to be that annoying person who gets everyone to pose and then repose and repose. But it might just be something as simple as a step either way, or changing that camera height. And you can see here in this example, because I'm wearing a black, navy blue hat, and I'm wearing, those colours, and my sons have got dark hair, underneath the horizon line, we kind of blend in with the water. So, and that makes that horizon just a real sharp horizon, and it just cuts that scene. I mean, it's a snapshot. Then when you have a look at the photo on the right, where we've just lowered the camera. Yes, it's cropped a little bit, but that's okay. But just to show here, we've lowered the camera height, I should say, not the angle, but the camera height. You can see that the horizon intersects with us. Now with me, it intersects through my shoulders, and it breaks up the horizon. So your eye goes along the horizon, goes around, and goes along and around. But you can see that it's kind of awkwardly cuts through Mitchell's head there. So that's not ideal. There's nothing wrong with it, but you can see there by just intersecting through the shoulders is a bit not as awkward, if you like. So so the one on the left, we kind of blend in with the water, but the one on the right, we're isolated. So it makes us stand out a bit more. So it makes a big difference there. Okay. Next one is an interesting one. This one here. So this isn't so much camera height, but it's kind of your vantage point. Now, in day 3, we talked about rule of thirds. And when I talked about rule of thirds, I talked about those 2 horizontal lines and placing the horizon on one of those. And when you place the horizontal line, the one on the left here, let's just, I can't do it. That's all right. I was gonna see if the grid lines came up. But you can just imagine those 2 horizontal lines, and because that horizon is, I just realized that's crooked. Gosh, day number 1. Straighten your horizon. Look at that. I'm a perfectionist. I'm looking at that going, there's something wrong with that photo. So I've put that horizon there. So because I've put the horizon there, that means that 2/3 of the photo is the foreground, which is great because I've got the textures in the sand there, and that makes total sense. But the water only fills in about a sixth, maybe 1/6 of the photo there. So you can't really see the nice long exposures I've taken here. You can't see that flow of the water. It just looks like a bit of a dog's breakfast, which is, But if I change the height, and you can see here in the other alternative image here, I've actually got up onto the boardwalk and shot down into the water. You can see there more than 2/3 of it is actually the whitewash, the breakers, all that sort of thing. So changing your vantage point can actually change how much of each section of the photo fills up the frame. Does that make sense? I hope it does. You can see it here visually. One, get down nice and low, get down to sea level. The sea will be a small amount. Get up higher, shooting down, the sea will actually fill up more of the frame. So it depends what your intention is with the photo. The one on the left, photographing lizard's head rock there, that is the dominant feature. That fills the frame, if you like. You got the texture there that adds foreground interest. And so that's okay. That makes sense to shoot at that level because the intention was to show off the rocks and the textures in that scene. The other one, the intention was to show off the context of where the rock is in the ocean with these sort of whitewash. So that makes sense to do it that way. All right, just check. Shooting vertical as well will change that the amount of that foreground that's in there. All right. Cool. All right. I think we'll wrap it up there. Quick update. I just finished recording a podcast interview with Greg McMillan from the iPhoneography Podcast Network. Great chat. Really, Greg shared some great insights into what he's doing, his background, and his approach to photography, how he frames and sets up the photo, and also how he edits the photo. And talked about computational photography. It was a great conversation. So go check that out on the podcast. On YouTube, I will share highlights because I had some technical issues and my camera was lagging quite a lot, like 10 seconds. And so I'm going to put together that highlights, like a highlights reel, if you like. So I'll put that on YouTube shortly. So again, in the comments, if there's a compositional technique that you want me to talk about, I'll make sure I cover that in the next couple of days and answer any questions there. So enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.